Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So we've got a viewer project here that I'm going to get started on. This belongs to a viewer of ours named Tony, and this is a cross-slide lead screw out of a 10-inch Rockwell bench lathe that Tony has been working on to get it fixed up so that he can use. And he contacted me some time back and asked me if this was something that I'd be interested in helping him repair. And I thought it would be a pretty good little project for the channel, so I told him to send it on down here, and we'll see if we can get it fixed up. So he has sent the original lead screw, the original nut that's got a lot of wear in it. He's also got a brand new nut that he purchased from someone. So somebody out there is actually making these lead screw nuts for the Rockwell lathe. It's even got the ball oiler in there. So pretty nice little piece. So we got a new nut, and then I bought this piece of half by 10 Acme rod from McMaster Car. So McMaster has a lot of different sizes in Acme rod if that's something that you need, and it's a great material to use for doing repairs like this. Also got a couple Acme nuts there as well in case I needed to be able to screw this rod together, because what I'm planning on doing is making this two pieces that screw together. So we'll take the original lead screw. This is my plan anyway. We're going to get a measurement to the very end of the thread there, and then we will probably just maybe part it off or cut it and drill and tap. We'll drill and tap up underneath this little gear right here. All right, and then we're going to cut a new piece of Acme rod. We will turn and thread it so that the two pieces screw together tightly. We'll have a little V machine in there, and we'll probably just TIG weld this together just to kind of make it a permanent joint. And I may even go right there behind it and with a small tension pin and go ahead and drill it and pin it as well, just to kind of help any kind of forces of trying to make those things back apart from each other. So that's my plan on repairing that. I think that's going to be a pretty simple and solid repair for him as well. These things, once they're in use, there's really not a lot of pressure on this this lead screw. You know, you got your nut and it's pushing the cross slide. As long as your give is adjusted properly, you should have pretty free movement on that. It shouldn't be putting any strain on that joint where it's going to be there together. So that's the way that they've been repaired before. We've had a lot of jobs where we just kind of, thread them together and then join them in a permanent fix like a weld or a pin or something like that, and it's always worked out pretty good. So that's my idea on getting this little guy fixed. So we'll go ahead and jump on this and see if we can get this fixed up for Tony. So I've taken a measurement of the length that we're going to cut it off there, and I've got it written down. It's going to be 7 1/8 total length of the threads there. I've got our tool lined up right on the very edge of that last thread, and we'll just part it off in the lathe here. Let's see. We should be able to, yep. There we go. Simple enough, and then what we'll do is just face this, and then we'll do our drilling and tapping here on this side. We've got the end of the shaft there faced off and center drilled. We're going to go ahead and drill it with a number 7 drill, and we'll tap it for a 1/4 20. Just using a little anchor lube here for some lubricant. And we'll go about 1 inch deep. All right, we chamfered that, and then we're going to go in there with our Cleveland 1/4 20 spiral fluted tap. Just going to use a spring-loaded center here to hold the tap handle. and then a little bit of anchor lube for our cutting fluid. All right, we got her tapped. I'm gonna go ahead and cut a 30-degree angle for our weld. Just using a threading tool for this. All right, that side's done. Now we can start on the new threaded section. We got our new Acme rod chucked in there. Just double checking my length, so we already know I want it to be about 7 1/4 plus 3/4 for the length of the threaded section we're going to do. That'll give me just a little bit to face off the end. So 8 inches is where we're at. That's where we should be. Doesn't like it too well. It's like it's not holding it all that well, but we're gonna get it and make it happen. Tell you what I'll do. I don't like that it's shaking around quite a bit. I'm gonna take my hacksaw and just go ahead and just cut it off right there. All right, we got her stuck out here. I'm going to see if we can get this turned and threaded without having to put a center in there. If I'm losing rigidity and it's trying to flex, we'll just go ahead and center it and put a center in the end. Just got to turn it down 1/4 inch. I'm going to use this Micro 100 brazed on tool. I'm not sure what grade of steel they use to make these rods. It almost feels like it's like 1018 cold rolled. Just taking a 1/16 at a time, feeding 5 thousandths. right, guys, we've got that turned down to 0.245. We've got it touched off, and we're going to be machining a 20 pitch thread across this. All right, I think we got her where we want it. All right, so we've got our two halves and they screw together nicely. And what I'm going to do is we're just going to put it together like so. We've got our little V in there so that we can TIG weld it together. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these things up, and this is why I bought these two nuts here. Let me see if I can get these started. I'm going to put this in the 3-jaw chuck to hold it, and we're going to tighten these guys down together like that, and then that way we'll be able to use the wrench to screw this in there nice and tight into the lead screw piece here, the original shaft. By the way, I've got all this cleaned out. I used this heavy-duty degreaser right here to spray both the tapped hole out and clean that off there as well. Blew everything nice and dry, and we should be ready to go together with it now. Take our wrenches. May not work as well. I'm try not to bend it either. All right, we're set up here at the home shop. We've got the welded positioner here using the little overblast welder, and we're going to go ahead and get this guy welded up. I was able to straighten it after that last video, and I had that thing running nearly straight as an arrow. I don't know if it's going to stay that way after I weld it, but we'll just deal with that after we kind of get it welded in. So let's go for it. Okay, we've got her welded, it's cooled. We're in the lathe. I'm gonna go ahead and use this tool and just kind of clean up these weld beads right there. It turned out pretty good. Not my best work, but it's definitely functionable, and I think it's gonna work fine, just the way it is. And you can see we've got a little bit of run out there. We're gonna see if we can get that straightened up some, but I'm just gonna go ahead and just clean up this these weld beads a little bit. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and speed it up a little there. Swap out tools, a little bit sharper edge there to help cut this. I've been working at this lead screw for a few minutes trying to get it straight. I've used a combination of a little bit of heat with the torch here in this area and then cooling it. And I've also a little bit of manipulation using this piece of PVC pipe there to try to help get it to move. I couldn't get the heat and the cool method to work exactly the way that I was wanting it to. It worked some, but once I got a little bit of heat on there, I was able to kind of help manipulate it in this joint right here to kind of help move it. It was out about 30 thousandths to begin with, and we've got it down pretty darn close now. So if you see the indicator right there, that's actually, I wouldn't even call that a thousandth of an inch. So we've got the thing pretty darn straight. So I'm happy with that. We're gonna leave it alone just the way it is. It should stay there. But I do wanna go ahead and clean the rest of this up, get rid of some of the discoloration here from the heat. And then the other end still has a little bit of the surface rust on it the way it came in. So I just wanna get it kind of polished up a little bit and ready to ship back out. All right, guys, this job is finished up and we are ready to go. It's ready to pack up and send out to our friend Tony. And at the beginning of the video, I mentioned one of the things I thought about doing was going ahead and drilling it for a pin right here. That way it goes through both pieces. I don't think the pin is really going to be necessary in this. We've got enough weld on here, and when I was TIG welding in there, I could tell that it all fused together nicely. So I think the weld is going to be plenty strong enough to hold these two pieces together. And I don't think the pin is going to be necessary for that. You know, we've got this lead screw nut that slides back and forth across these threads that pushes your cross slide for the lathe back and forth. And there shouldn't be enough force on this screw for this thing to break. Now, I'm not saying that it wouldn't happen or it can't happen, but it shouldn't break. This should be plenty strong enough. There's been repairs in the past like this before, and I've never had any problems with that, but not saying that it wouldn't happen. So I do stand behind this work. If this happens to fail on Tony, he's welcome to reach back out to me and I will fix it and make it right if it happens to break, okay? But it's running nice and straight now, and I think this is going to be a good repaired part. There's the, you know, the original threads, and you can see just basically right in this area here, it's the most worn. It's almost like razors out there. Those threads are so sharp. And that's typical for pretty much any lathe after it's been used for a number of years. This being a 10-inch Rockwell, I don't know when this lathe was made, but it's several decades old, and it's probably seen a lot of use. So these things just eventually wear out. Fortunately, he was able to find the new lead screw nut for this. Let's go ahead and put this guy on there. So right about in that area right there is where it's going to sit most of the time. It's got a pretty good feel to the you know, these commercially available Acme rods like I bought here. I don't know what the backlash is, but I'm just moving it with my fingers, and it really only feels like maybe 2 or 3 thousandths of backlash that I'm getting out of that right there. So this should be this should be a good fix, and it'll probably last Tony the rest of his ownership of the lathe there. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I enjoyed getting this fixed up for Tony, and I hope this helps him out and he can get started back on this lathe project and get it put back together. All right, we will see you guys on the next project.